The murders of Devontae Swanks, 19, and Malachi Swanks, 16, and their friend Thane Wright, 15. Des Moines, Iowa. Following a dispute over $40, one trio of teenage boys robbed, shot, and killed another trio of teenage boys on the south side of Des Moines. The first trio ransacked a house, stuffed the victims' bodies into a closet, and fled the scene. An intensive police investigation followed. Forensics linked one of the murder weapons to a shooting the next day. Stolen loot turned up in a co-defendant's possession shortly after that, and one of the offenders later cooperated with the prosecution. A jury heard this and other corroborating evidence before convicting Emmanuel Tote of 3 counts of second-degree murder and 3 counts of first-degree robbery. Tote appeals, alleging multiple errors across this 3-1-week trial. Finding no reversible error before us, we affirm. Background facts and proceedings: Vincent Swanks and the mother of his children had dinner together before Vincent returned alone to their shared duplex and discovered everything was flung around inside. Based on this disarray, Vincent suspected his teenage sons had a fight, so he video called the boy's mother. The two were on the video call when Vincent discovered their sons D and M. Swanks and one of the boy's friends TW dead in the closet of an upstairs bedroom. Horrified, Vincent freaked out and jetted outside, fearing the murderer was still in the home. Vincent ended the video call and he and the boy's mother separately called 911 around 11 p.m. Police arrived within minutes, entered the house, and found the boys' bodies with no signs of life. Officers observed blood and brain matter on the wall. We use initials for the minor victims and first names for witnesses who share surnames. 3 corpses, which were stacked on top of each other among clothes and other debris in the closet. Crime scene investigators recovered spent .380 caliber casings and shotgun shells, as well as a pillow that appeared to have been shot through at close range. From the condition of the bodies, it was evident the wounds included both shotgun blasts and small arms fire from a handgun. The day of the triple homicide, as told by an accomplice Leon Trell Jones fled the state shortly after the murders made the news. After Jones was on the lam for about 6 months, law enforcement found him in Illinois. Jones agreed to cooperate and, as part of a proffer agreement, informed police how he, Tote known to Jones as Dutch, and Deshaun Die Gills perpetrated the robberies. Jones also told police that Tote and Gills killed the victims. Jones told the jury he was spending time with Gills on the day of the murders when Gills brought up perpetrating a stain, meaning a robbery. The two then met up with Tote and drove Gills's dark-colored Chevy Malibu to the Swanks home, where D. Swanks, M. Swanks, and TW were hanging out. There, the group talked with D. Swanks about doing a stain. The agreed-upon target, some white guy in a fanny pack, was located in apartments behind a local mall, and Jones, Gills, and the Swanks brothers went there in Gills's Malibu. But the target never showed. Later that day, the group attempted to sell a video game console at GameStop, and Jones and D. Swanks went into the store. But they couldn't make the sale because they were missing a cord. According to Jones, Tote gave M. Swanks $100 cash during the afternoon's events, so M. Swanks could take a photo of the money to prove they could afford to buy drugs. But apparently M. Swanks did not return all $100 of Tote's cash, allegedly shorting him $40. When the group later returned to the duplex, the Swanks brothers went inside first. Still in the car, Gills and Tote discussed robbing the brothers while Jones listened. Jones claimed to not want any part of the robbery but didn't say anything to stop it. Gills and Tote then went into the house, one armed with a .380 handgun and the other with a shotgun. Jones followed them about 20 minutes later, because they were taking too long. Inside, Jones observed the home was flipped, torn apart, with bags of loot, including a black Jordan backpack, near the door. He found Gills, Tote, the Swanks brothers, and TW upstairs. The brothers and TW were putting their cell phones into a bag at Tote and Gills's direction. Gills then said, "They got to go," which Jones understood to mean, somebody going to die. According to Jones, he and Tote verbally disagreed with killing the Swanks brothers and TW, but Gills ordered the 3 victims into a bedroom closet. Jones then left the house. The last thing Jones saw inside was the Swanks brothers and TW herded into the closet, and the last thing he heard was gunfire. Soon after, Gills and Tote returned to Gills's Malibu with the .380 handgun, the shotgun, and bags containing proceeds from the robberies. At this point, Jones heard Tote say he heard somebody still breathing, and Gills retrieved the shotgun and went back into the house. When Gills came back outside, he remarked the gun had no kickback to it, and that he either saw the brains or shot the brains. According to Jones, he, Tote, and Gills then went to Tote's house with the stolen property, where they split everything up and smoked a blunt. Jones's share of the loot was some weed, some gaming devices, and some cellular phones. Jones did not identify how the trio divvied up the rest of the loot, but he knew they took a black Jordan backpack. A shooting and surveillance the next day following investigation of the crime scene at the duplex, police surveilled Tote's residence. During the stakeout, officers observed Gills stop by Tote's residence, still driving his Malibu. After Gills left, police saw Tote leave in another car. Police stopped the car and arrested Tote. While impounding Tote's vehicle, officers received reports of a drive-by shooting involving a Malibu at an intersection along Evergreen Avenue. The reporting motorist was driving with his wife and 3-month-old baby when a noise startled him, a gunshot shattered his rear window, and a bullet pierced the passenger's side sun visor. The motorist took photos of a car involved in the shooting, including its license plate. Police confirmed this car was Gills's Malibu, and investigators recovered spent .380 caliber casings from the site of the shooting. The bullet that hit the vehicle with the baby was stuck in the visor and couldn't be removed. Following this shooting, police continued to surveil Gills and observed him and his girlfriend get into a rideshare van carrying 2 cardboard boxes of unknown items. Officers stopped the van, took Gills and his girlfriend to the police station, and seized those boxes along with a purse containing 2 full quart-sized bottles of lighter fluid. The boxes contained a PlayStation gaming console and controller, cell phones, a towel, a black Jordan backpack, boxing gloves, a receipt made out to Gills for the Malibu, and a spent .380 caliber casing. Later investigation and interviews with the surviving members of the Swanks family confirmed the backpack, PlayStation console and controller, and boxing gloves were all from the Swanks home. A unique identifying number also confirmed one of the cell phones in Gills's box belonged to D. Swanks. The same evening, police executed a search warrant at Tote's house. Officers found a white Xbox later confirmed as the Xbox the Swanks brothers had received from their mother at Christmas. Police interviews. Police interviewed Tote and Gills at the station house. Tote was generally uncooperative, denied knowing the Swanks brothers, Gills, or Jones, and claimed to not know where the stolen Xbox found in his house came from. Meanwhile, Gills acknowledged the Malibu was his car but denied involvement in any violent criminal activity and insisted he was taking the cardboard boxes to his auntie's, though he couldn't say where she lived. When a detective asked why his girlfriend had lighter fluid, Gills said it was for a barbecue. He also denied obtaining the boxing gloves or any other property in the boxes from the Swanks home. Gills's girlfriend told police and later the jury that Gills directed her to get and bring the lighter fluid. The Swanks brothers' mother provided police with a receipt and serial number showing the Xbox found in Tote's residence was the one she gave the boys for Christmas. She also positively identified the boxing gloves, black Jordan backpack, and Xbox controllers as property stolen from the Swanks residence. D. Swanks's girlfriend and TW's girlfriend both corroborated aspects of Jones's account. D. Swanks's girlfriend saw Gills, Jones, Tote, and the brothers together at the duplex earlier in the day. That same day, she also saw Gills with a long gun tucked in his clothes. TW's girlfriend gave police screenshots of messages between her and TW, one of which specified he was, finna, about to go hit a stain, and another later said, if I get shot just know I really did like you. The next day at school, TW's girlfriend learned he had been murdered when she heard the announcement over the high school intercom. Other witnesses, including a GameStop employee, a neighbor, and the victim's family members, further corroborated Jones's timeline. The GameStop employee recalled that Jones and D. Swanks came into the store the day of the murders and the employee verified a recorded video from that day. The woman who shared a wall with the Swanks heard a bang bang noise, at least 2 sets of 3 shots, starting around 8:15 p.m. TW's mother described how a location tracking application sent her a message that TW's phone disconnected from the application, a message she had never received before, at 8:31 p.m. And she and her daughters knocked on the door at 9 p.m. and again a bit later, with no answer. Forensics, firearms and autopsies. Police established a tentative link between the 380 casings recovered from the Swanks home, the shooting on Evergreen the day after, and the casing recovered from Gills's cardboard box. Testing by a Division of Criminal Investigation (DCI) firearms expert at the State Crime Lab ultimately confirmed all but one of the .380 casings from the Evergreen shooting, the murders, and Gills's cardboard box were fired by the same weapon. The 1.380 casing that could not be positively matched was inconclusive, meaning it was possible it was or was not fired by the same weapon. The county medical examiner performed autopsies on the 3 victims. The medical examiner determined D. Swanks was shot twice with a shotgun in the back at close range, within the order of several feet, and once in the chest with a handgun. M. Swanks was shot once with a shotgun discharged to the head and twice with a handgun, once in the head and once in the abdomen. As a police officer put it bluntly, it appeared as if the shotgun had been placed in M. Swanks's mouth and fired. TW was shot multiple times with a handgun, in the head, face, arm, and shoulder, and once with a shotgun discharged to the back of the head. Gunshot wounds were the cause of death for all 3 boys, and the manners of death were ruled homicide. Projectiles recovered from the bodies were consistent with .380 caliber ammunition, and recovered shell components were consistent with a 12-gauge shotgun. Digital evidence. Police collected surveillance footage that placed Gills's Malibu outside GameStop and D. Swanks and Jones inside the store. Other video evidence showed a car matching Gills's Malibu approaching the duplex at 7:47 p.m. that evening. Officers also captured footage of Gills's Malibu at Tote's house before and after the estimated time of the murders. Social media evidence generally corroborated the timeline, including messages between Jones, the victims, and their girlfriends, and a location tracking application recorded that D. Swanks, or at least his cell phone, went to GameStop during the established timeframe and returned home at 7:44 p.m. The charges, deliberation, and verdict. The Polk County Attorney charged Tote and Gills jointly with 3 counts of first-degree murder, Class A, felonies in violation of Iowa Code Sections 707.1 and 707.2 (2020) with a weapons enhancement under Section 902.7, and 3 counts of robbery in the first degree, Class B, felonies in violation of Iowa Code Section 711.1 and 711.2, also with a weapons enhancement under Section 902.7. Following significant pretrial motion practice, Tote and Gills were tried jointly. During deliberations, the jury sent multiple notes to the court. One note asked, if the defendant is deemed guilty of first-degree robbery, are they also then automatically guilty of first-degree murder? Following the parties' recommendations, the court informed the jury they had received all the applicable law and should reread their instructions. The next day, the jury sent a note expressing difficulty coming to a unanimous decision on one of the defendants. The court, again following the parties' recommendations, directed the jury to continue deliberating and try to reach a unanimous verdict with regard to both defendants. Ultimately, the jury found Gills guilty as charged and Tote guilty of 3 counts of second-degree murder and 3 counts of first-degree robbery. After reading the verdict, the district court polled the jury at Tote's request and discharged the jurors. Tote's attorney then made a remark about the inconsistency of the verdict, but did not ask for any corrective action. Tote later moved for a new trial, and the district court denied the motion. The court sentenced Tote to consecutive terms of 50 years in prison with a mandatory minimum of 35 years on each count of second-degree murder. Class B, felonies in violation of Iowa Code Sections 707.1 and 707.3, with a weapons enhancement under Section 902.7, but ordered the first-degree robbery counts be served concurrently. Tote appeals.